General Hospital spoilers tease that finally, the shocking truths that General Hospital fans have been waiting for have gradually been revealed, making the story more and more tense and complicated. One of the biggest shocks is when Jocelyn discovers that Britt is still alive, information that she and everyone around her previously thought was impossible. This not only disrupts the plans that Jocelyn and other characters have built, but also opens up a series of unexpected and dangerous situations. Britt's fake death, if it is true, has turned everything they once believed upside down. Now, Britt's survival is not only a shocking truth but also a factor that creates a major crisis in General Hospital. When Jocelyn discovers that Britt is still alive, she is not only faced with an old friend but also with a big question: why did Britt fake her death? Not only does this draw Jocelyn into a risky investigation, it also raises suspicions about dark secrets that Britt may be hiding. This revelation sets things in motion, as Jocelyn is now not just the friend who found Britt, but also the one facing the dangers that are slowly becoming apparent. The adjustments in Jocelyn and Britt's relationship, coupled with the growing suspicions, create an atmosphere of inevitable tension. The adjustments in the story begin to force all the characters to confront the secrets they have tried so hard to hide. The troubles that Jocelyn and Britt face now aren't just about Britt's survival, but also about the deep connections between Britt and the other characters on General Hospital. Is Britt's survival part of a larger conspiracy she can't escape, or has Britt actually escaped death to unravel the truths that have yet to be revealed? Each step Jocelyn takes in her quest to understand Britt's survival only adds to the complexity of the story, as things seem to spiral out of control. Not only will Jocelyn be caught up in this twist, but the rest of her family and friends will also be caught up in it. Britt, who was once a major influence in Jocelyn's life, now makes things more unpredictable. Their relationship, once a strong friendship, is now tested by unexplained secrets and unanswered questions. Jocelyn must not only come to terms with the fact that Britt survived, but also deal with a host of complex issues that she can't simply ignore. This story is not simply about Britt's survival, but a story about the unforeseen changes in the lives of all the characters. When Jocelyn discovers that Britt is alive, everything seems to be in turmoil. These changes not only increase the tension in relationships but also open up new possibilities. Events that no one could have imagined before. Things now go further, as Jocelyn finds herself facing not only Britt's survival but also investigations involving hidden forces and secrets related to Professor Dalton, who has a close relationship with Britt. Could Britt be part of some experiment that Dalton is conducting, or is she a victim in a larger game that she cannot control? These questions only add to Jocelyn's predicament, as she must find the truth without knowing what she's dealing with. At the same time, this story is proving that things will never be the same again. The changes in how the characters perceive each other, coupled with the continued shock of Britt's survival and the connections between the characters, are pushing the story further than ever. These events will not only affect Jocelyn and Britt's relationship, but everyone around them, creating huge waves on General Hospital. Every action, every decision that Jocelyn and Britt make now affects not only them, but the lives of all the characters, as they face surprising truths and unforeseen outcomes. Ultimately, Britt's survival won't just be a miracle, but an integral part of this larger story, opening up a series of new twists and inevitable shocks. Things are going further, and every decision on General Hospital now has the potential to create a twist of no return, pushing the story to a climax that viewers can't possibly predict. When Jocelyn discovers that Britt not only survived but is also the victim of a cruel plot set up by Dalton, everything on General Hospital begins to change dramatically. Once again, Britt's story is not just about a fight to survive Huntington's disease, but a brutal struggle to escape the secret experiments Dalton performed on her. This shocks not only Jocelyn, but also everyone who thought Britt died a hero the night she saved Jocelyn's life from Heather Weber. Britt's survival, which Jocelyn thought was a miracle, is now a dark truth. Britt, who was once a symbol of strength and sacrifice, is now the victim of a plot she had no control over. Britt's Huntington's disease, which was already a terrible ordeal for her, is now being turned into part of Dalton's cruel experiments. Jocelyn, upon realizing this, is not only stunned but also drawn into a dangerous investigation. As she decides to find out the truth behind it all. Britt's suffering is not only due to her illness but also due to the experiments Dalton performed, which have changed everything she knew about her old friend. These events make the situation on General Hospital more tense than ever. Jocelyn is faced with not only protecting Britt but also facing the people behind these experiments, who have made Britt a guinea pig in a larger scheme. Not only does this disrupt Britt's life, it also creates a difficult situation for Jocelyn, as she realizes that Britt's survival may be the result of a conspiracy she could not have foreseen. Jocelyn's every move is now not just about saving Britt, but also a fight to uncover the truth and confront the people who control her best friend's fate. As Jocelyn continues to investigate, she realizes that it is not simply about saving Britt from the attacks of criminal forces, but about facing the haunting things Britt is going through. Dalton's experiments are not just part of a scientific plan, but also a cruel one that pushes Britt into a world she could never have imagined. This discovery is not only shocking to Jocelyn, but also to everyone around her, who once thought that Britt sacrificed herself for a noble cause. In reality, Britt's sacrifice is now part of a terrifying plan that no one could have foreseen. The tension mounts as Jocelyn faces difficult questions about her responsibility. She can't just stand by and watch Britt suffer for the terrible things Dalton has done. This becomes more than just a fight for justice for Britt, but a battle between loyalty and betrayal, as Jocelyn confronts the truth about the dark secrets that those around her have kept from her. Everything Jocelyn has ever known is turned upside down, as truths are revealed and she is forced to face decisions she was not prepared for. This story is not just about Britt's survival, but also about the decisions Jocelyn must make in this investigation. Jocelyn now must not only fight to protect Britt, but also confront forces more powerful than she could have ever imagined. She begins to realize that this fight is not just about Britt and Huntington's disease, but about the larger conspiracy that is going on around them. Will Britt actually survive these experiments, or will she fall victim to a larger plan that Dalton is carrying out? Jocelyn cannot simply stand by and watch. And as she realizes that she has been drawn into a fight not just for Britt but for her own fate, things become even more dangerous. The story of Britt, Jocelyn and Dalton has now become a struggle not only for survival but also for justice and evil, truth and lies. The shocks that the characters face are now not just about the experiments but also about the betrayals and wrong decisions they have to face. These changes are taking the story further and causing all the characters to face consequences they could not have imagined. Things are slowly reaching a point of no return. And this will surely usher in new disasters, leaving everyone on General Hospital facing extremely difficult decisions. As Jocelyn begins to unravel the secrets behind Dalton's dark experiments, she realizes that there is more to the story than just the machinations of one individual. As the truths begin to unfold, they set off a chain of surprising and dangerous events. Behind all of these experiments is a name that is no stranger to the scientific world, Sir John Gordon. As one of the world's most renowned developmental biologists, a Nobel Prize winner, and the father of cell cloning, Gordon is not only a highly influential scientist, but also the inspiration for Dalton's dark research. With her determination and intelligence, Jocelyn begins to piece together the puzzle. She realizes that Dalton is not just a professor, but part of a larger research network built on unethical methods. As she begins to learn more about Dalton's past and his relationship with Gordon, a terrifying picture emerges. The cell cloning experiments they are conducting are not just about cell research, but also about human experimentation, turning innocent lives like Britt into test subjects that they can manipulate. Britt, who once saved Jocelyn's life in a dangerous situation, is now the victim of a conspiracy she cannot control. Britt's Huntington's disease, which has been a terrible ordeal for her, is now being used as a tool in Dalton and Gordon's experiments. This shocks Jocelyn deeply, as she realizes that Britt is not only dealing with a cruel disease, but is also part of an unethical scientific scheme where her life is being used as a laboratory experiment. Jocelyn cannot believe her eyes as she begins to see the truth. She once thought Britt's death was the end of the story, but now, everything has changed. Britt is still alive, and her death may be just part of a larger plan that Dalton is carrying out. When Jocelyn discovers that Britt may have been kept and used as a subject in Dalton's experiments, she has no choice but to act. She knows that she must save Britt. But not only to save her best friend, but also to expose the dark plot that Dalton is hiding. Every step Jocelyn takes in this investigation makes things more complicated. Her relationship with Britt, once so close and close, is now tested by terrible secrets that she could not have expected. The connections between Dalton and Gordon not only add tension to the story, but also highlight the psychological tension in Jocelyn. She begins to realize that this fight is not just about saving Britt, but also a fight about morality, about justice, and about the decisions people can make in extreme situations. This story is now not just about Britt surviving, but about Jocelyn facing truths she was not prepared for. She must deal not only with Dalton and Gordon, but also with the consequences that people like them can have on the lives of innocent people. As Jocelyn realizes that she is caught in a massive conspiracy from which she cannot escape, she begins to worry about what she will have to do to protect Britt and herself. This change not only comes as a huge shock to Jocelyn, but also raises important questions about what she will do next. As things become more complicated, Dalton and Gordon's machinations may put her in situations she could never have foreseen. From saving Britt to uncovering the truth, Jocelyn's every decision now affects not only her life but also the lives of everyone she loves. The story is getting further and further as the truth is revealed and the tension between Dalton and Gordon comes to a head. Jocelyn's adjustments to her approach, along with the discovery of the dark experiments that Britt was a victim of, are causing things to spiral out of control. Will Jocelyn be able to save Britt from Dalton's experiments, or will she face a disaster she never expected? This story is sure to take General Hospital into a new, tense phase, where every decision, no matter how small, could change the entire story. As Jocelyn begins to report shocking events about the secrets she has discovered, the story of General Hospital not only becomes tense but also reveals complex truths, unleashing a huge storm that cannot be controlled. Jocelyn's discovery that Dalton, whom she once thought was a normal professor, is actually the mastermind of a terrible plot against Britt and the others, is a huge shock. She could not have imagined that the person Britt and she once trusted could be a part of such dark experiments and unethical actions. These secrets not only push the story further but also create terrible tension between Jocelyn and the characters involved, especially when she decides to inform Jason. When Jocelyn shares this discovery with Jason, she not only reveals shocking information but also puts him in a fight he was never prepared for. Jason, though a strong and always a pillar in stressful situations, now feels confused and stunned by the truths that Jocelyn brings. The adjustments in the story of Dalton and Sir John Gordon, the complicated relationships that Jocelyn and Jason never knew, completely changed the situation. The story is not only about Britt's survival but also the struggle between truth and concealment, between justice and the crimes that Dalton and Gordon committed. This discovery is like a strong slap in the face of the system that they thought could not be shaken. And now Jocelyn faces unforeseen dangers. The story of the truth that Jocelyn reveals seems to be a big change in General Hospital, when the complicated events are gradually revealed. Since she discovered that Dalton was not only a scientist but also the mastermind of dark experiments, everything has changed. What Jocelyn and Britt once believed in is torn apart. As Dalton's actions not only harm Britt, but are connected to larger plans she could not have foreseen. Dalton and Gordon, with their own secrets, are the cause of a dangerous chain of events that Jocelyn is forced to solve. As Jocelyn continues to dig deeper into this investigation, she realizes that the connection between Dalton and Gordon is not only about science but also about power. Gordon, once famous for his research on cell cloning, now becomes a key player in the story, as his experiments are performed on Britt by Dalton. Jocelyn not only uncovers secrets about an old friend, but also uncovers deeper conspiracies that force her to make important decisions. The story is now not just about saving Britt, but also about confronting larger forces, larger conspiracies that she and Jason must face. The relationship between Jocelyn and Jason is now more strained as they face unchangeable truths. Their decisions will affect not only Britt, but everyone they love. Shocks continue to emerge as secrets are revealed, and each step Jocelyn takes in this investigation increases the level of danger, not only for her but for everyone around her. Jason, who has always been in control of every situation, is now faced with decisions that he cannot easily handle. This story is not only about Jocelyn finding out about Britt's survival, but also a risky investigation into the dark experiments and conspiracies that Dalton and Gordon are carrying out. The changes Jocelyn makes in her life now not only affect Britt, but also open up a series of unexpected and dangerous events. She is not only faced with a dangerous situation, but also with a system of evil that she never imagined. With each step Jocelyn takes in her search for the truth, this story becomes more and more insane. The shocks keep coming, making the relationships between the characters more complicated than ever. Jocelyn's discovery of these secrets not only changes Britt's life, but also puts her in a situation from which she cannot return. The decisions that lie ahead will determine the fate of all the characters, as the truth gradually comes to light and the dark schemes of Dalton and Gordon begin to have a greater impact than ever. This story is proving to be uncontrollable now. Things seem to be going south, and the changes in how Jocelyn deals with Dalton and Gordon will create a major turning point on General Hospital. Can she save Britt and expose the truth, or will things push her into inevitable disaster? As Jocelyn begins to uncover the secrets behind Dalton's experiments and discovers that Britt not only survived, but is also the victim of a sinister plot, things on General Hospital begin to get more tense than ever. She knows that she can't keep this information a secret, and reporting the shocking events to Jason opens a new chapter in the story. The events she uncovers not only force her to confront secrets Britt and she never imagined, but also put Jason in a situation he can't escape. The story now revolves not only around saving Britt, but also confronting a larger conspiracy that they have yet to uncover. With the truth about Dalton and Gordon slowly coming to light, Jocelyn has no choice but to ask Jason for help. But Jason's changing role, always known as the protector and the one in control, is now put to the test like never before. Jason is used to dealing with the underworld. But this story is not just a battle of power, but also a battle of morality and the protection of his family. Jason, who has always been in control, is now faced with a situation he cannot easily resolve. This story puts Jason not only in the position of a protector, but also one who must uncover the truth, even if the cost may be great. As Jocelyn reports her findings, Jason realizes that this fight is not just about protecting Britt, but also a struggle to expose the evil schemes that Dalton and Gordon are carrying out. The relationship between Jocelyn and Jason begins to change, as they are both faced with important decisions they never thought they would have to make. Dalton and Gordon's actions now threaten not only Britt, but everyone they love. Jason, who has always acted with determination, now finds himself in a battle with himself, as he becomes not only a protector but also one who must face truths that could destroy everything he has ever known and protected. Jason, who has always been in control of every situation, now feels the change in his life. Jocelyn's request for his participation in this investigation forces him to not only act but also make difficult decisions, not only for Britt but also for his family. This fight is not only about saving Britt from Dalton's experiments but also about revealing deeper relationships that Jason could not have foreseen. His relationship with Jocelyn seems to be taking a new direction, as they face difficulties and challenges that have never been before. Jason's adjustments to strategy and Jocelyn's determination will determine not only Britt's future, but the future of everyone in their lives. One of the things that makes this story so dramatic is the drastic change in Jason's role in the story. Previously, he was always the one who protected everyone and handled the situation from the shadows. However, now Jason is no longer a bystander but the main character in this fight. He is facing a world that he could control before but is now filled with secrets and dangers that he could not have foreseen. This investigation, along with the help of Jocelyn, completely changes the way Jason views the world around him. He is no longer just a cold protector but an active character, standing up to dangers and deciding the fate of himself and his loved ones. Jason's transformation is not only strategic, but also psychological. Every move he makes now carries not only decisiveness, but also anxiety and uncertainty about the possible consequences. Every decision can lead to a new shock, and Jason faces challenges he has never faced before. His involvement in the plan to rescue Britt is not only an act of protecting his friends, but also a change in the way he views justice, family, and the choices he must make in a world of intrigue and betrayal. The story becomes even more complicated when Jocelyn and Jason gradually realize that the fight with Dalton is not just about saving Britt, but also about facing a greater force. Dalton and Gordon, the people behind these experiments and conspiracies, are now not only a threat to Britt, but also a potential danger to all who dare to challenge them. Every step Jason and Jocelyn take on this journey will have great significance, as they not only face enemies but also have to fight with the values they once believed in. The drastic changes in Jason's role and the important decisions Jocelyn makes will be inevitable turning points in the story, leading to a surprising and dramatic climax in General Hospital.